Basic operating system tuning. It is unlikely you're going to see questions on the operating system and tuning the operating system in an Oracle certification exam, but it is included in the specifications for the test online on Oracle's Education Certification site. On NT, you can use the Windows Performance Monitor. This tool can be accessed from your Oracle installation menu under Configuration and Migration Tools. This is on NT, that is. I'm going to bring this tool up. And here is the Windows Performance Monitor. Basically, it monitors the operating system. All sorts of goodies which I don't really want to go into. Basically, a lot of this information you can actually get from in the Oracle Enterprise Manager console. That's the Windows NT Monitor. On Unix and Linux, there are an enormous number of utilities, generally mostly text-driven, some GUI tools, which you can use to monitor I/O, memory usage, CPU usage, etc., etc. Not the kind of thing you need to know for an Oracle certification test. One thing that is specified in the certification test parameters is what is the difference between a process and a thread. Well, simply put, a process is something that runs on a machine and runs from start to finish. A thread is a thread spun from a process, in other words, multiple threads. What to look for when tuning at the operating system level? Well, the obvious things are the things which require the most speed or should be the fastest, the CPU. The processor is much faster than RAM, which is in turn much faster than I/O. Look for high CPU idle times, the CPU not doing anything, or also look for high CPU usage, such as the processor on a Windows box jumping up to 100%, or lots of spikes. Spikes in processor use implies something where the processor use goes right through the roof, but not consistently. On Windows, you actually use something called the Task Manager to track processor use. And as you can see, it's generally consistent. Memory usage is consistent as well. If I was to go and run something that actually used an enormous amount of memory, such as a query, and let's clear this out, it's in the background because the Task Manager sits on top. Let's say select star from. This will actually mess up my machine. Oh yes, okay. First of all, I've got to set auto trace off because I'm not returning the results. Select star from a very big table, dump it on the screen, and you should see processor use go way up. That's the kind of thing you're looking for, 100%. I'm going to abort this process, and you should see it go right down again. You get similar tools on Unix for doing the same sort of thing, both graphical and non-graphical. The most important thing to look for is really CPU usage. Memory is not nearly as fast as the CPU, however, what you're looking for is paging and swapping. We'll find out what paging and swapping are in a later movie. And obviously you're looking for too much I/O, too much disk activity. It could mean that things are swapping in and out and you don't have enough memory, or it could simply mean that you're running a data warehouse which is highly I/O intensive anyway. And also you can have contention for I/O, competition for I/O. Too many things trying to access the same chunk of disk at the same time, such as hot blocks. What it means is that you're not catering properly for concurrency. What can you do about all these various different operating system layer problems? Typically you end up tuning the Oracle database itself, or you end up doing things like upgrading CPUs, increasing the number of CPUs, changing the size of memory or the size of memory that is allocated to Oracle in various pieces, or quite often with things like I/O and slow redo log writes is you end up accessing something like redo logs and archive log files to the fastest disk set that you have available, depending on database activity.